I'm going to use this featurette as a second determinant, because so far with Ambulance, I'm still kind of in this position of, well, I don't necessarily if I need to jump to seeing it in theaters. I felt that the trailers thus far, even though I love Jake Gyllenhaal, and Yahya Abdul-Mateen is also a great actor, he's a very familiar name right now, I'm not sure that the trailers give me enough reason to warrant watching this in a theater. I mean, maybe it could be an exciting action thriller, but I'm still feeling I've seen this before. It comes across a bit mundane, to be honest with you. And maybe it's the character stuff that's more so in focus. I think the trailers, again, have been pretty tepid. While the action sequences, in terms of like the explosions and stuff, have looked good, it's very familiar territory for a Michael Bay movie, and this is I believe he's serving as the director here. And probably, I haven't looked, he's serving as a writer, I forget exactly, but I felt that the trailers, again, are very familiar in regard to Michael Bay's style and the popular films, of course, that nobody you think of, like the Transformers movies, the explosion stuff, that's, big action sequences. Well, he does it well. It's kind of like, well, I've seen this thing before. And the film is just kind of like, well, it seems a bit middle of the road to me. Let's let the trailer perhaps do a bit of a deeper dive into why I need to watch this movie in theaters and not necessarily on streaming later on. And I like looking at featurettes, regardless. I like learning about what happens behind the scenes in terms of maybe the filmmaking process or the intention of making a project, so you can enjoy it on a deeper level. But there's a little more going in that I guess this featurette will be responsible for in the way that I see it. Will this bring me in a little more? We're going to go than it has so far with the trailer and a very, very, very short TV spot. Super Bowl is kind of like, well, it doesn't really do anything for me. We're going to go ahead and watch this first. And of course, we'll discuss it more following us watching the video together. Without further ado, here we go.
The reason why I wanted to do this film was Michael Bay. The whole energy of this movie is something different than I've been a part of. Here we go!
I mean, still he's done films I've enjoyed. I'm just kind of like,
consummate action director of his time. He has a very specific stylistic approach to the way that he tells stories.
And it has real stakes, emotional stakes.
Suspects have hijacked a red and white ambulance.
The advised suspect fled from a parking garage.
We meet Will. He's a veteran, and his wife has cancer and desperately needs this experimental surgery that the insurance will not cover.
Danny has lived in a life of criminality, and he's also needing money in a different way.
And so Will goes to ask for a favor from his brother.
That's my brother.
Doesn't look like your brother.
Wow, that is
I mean, the vibe in terms
Will's
of the companionship
adopted,
between the different characters and
relationship
the backstories, that is interesting.
Messiness and violence and love.
He hasn't seen his brother for a long time for the right reasons.
I will do anything for you, and all I'm asking is for you to do this one little thing for me.
It does make it more of a layered drama rather than, again, like the Transformers
Now you're
popcorn
here, asking me for
movie.
help.
They're very
What am I
tight.
giving you? I am giving you the world!
Danny's getting what he's always wanted, which is his brother back.
Let's go, D.
And maybe it'll be Jake Gyllenhaal again, because the performance, I love watching him, so that could be it.
Hijacking an ambulance.
I'm gonna need you to help us. Why don't you help us?
I got a cop shot. I gotta get him to the hospital. We don't get to see that a lot. We don't get to see a female character make a decision between her own life or others. You need to help me.
Go help me. Help the cop.
I also really liked this woman at the center of a story who just doesn't take crap from anyone.
Get the defib pads. Right chest, left rib.
My right or your right?
His right, moron. The power dynamics consistently changing.
Because keeping the police officer alive is their only way to not get immediately killed by LAPD.
Do you have EMT experience?
Combat triage.
And everything
So
just
good
becomes
stakes.
wild really quickly.
I don't know what happened. It just started beating.
He's about to die.
Maybe it's just the trailers that didn't do it, because, we explain it more, I'm like, okay.
Sitting duck, Will, we gotta move.
I could see this being a strong
It
theater
felt like
release
a small
and perhaps
independent
feeling
indie movie that we were doing in the
bits
back
of
of
escape.
an
I just think maybe
ambulance,
the
and then I
trailers
see
have
a
been off
humongous
then.
explosion. I was like, oh, it's still Michael
Because the
Bay.
trailers paint this as just kind of a
Working with
traditional
Michael Bay, it was
action
just
thriller
wild
movie.
from the first day.
I want the helo to come in from up here.
He likes to do practical shots.
And you're driving at 80 miles an hour, shooting at a helicopter with another helicopter behind it, and I'm going, what's happening?
We're not the bad guys. We're just the guys trying to get home.
I gotta get back to my wife and my son.
Does your wife know you're Rob Banks?
Michael loves an enthusiastic actor who has ideas.
He has a real reverence for actors. I think he really respects the process.
These guys are nut jobs. In 2 hours, they're either dead or in cuffs.
And it belongs in a theater, and I cannot wait for it to be in a theater.
Okay.
Hopefully they leave the theater sweating.
stop! You hear me? You're gonna hurt
I mean, part of me can't shake the fair, and of course you'd say that because you're in the marketing campaigns. This is the advertising portion. This is how you get people in, right? You must go see it in theaters. And of course you have a talent that's going to be, you know, I'm sure obligated at some level to say that. But, oh, maybe they're serious. I don't know. I get how PR works. I'm just kind of like... I feel this featurette was a little better because, again, it stresses the overall narrative. And that's why I felt... Maybe the trailers are just overshadowed a bit with the feeling that this is another traditional Michael Bay action movie, which I'm still like, I've seen this before. Again, not to say that I thought they're all bad. I'm just saying it comes across very consistent for me. So I would like to see a bit more of a sophistication in regard to deviating from what is familiar. And maybe it's just the trailers haven't done that for me as well. Because this featurette goes, again, it's very narration heavy in regard to the overall plot. That makes me a little more game to watch it, and it dives more into performances between said actors. Again, I love watching Jake Gyllenhaal, so that might be another draw for me to watch this in theaters. It might be. We'll see. I forget when the release date is for this, and they didn't list it at the end of the video. March 25th. At least the video titled that. So it's coming out pretty soon. We'll see. I mean, I might watch it. This featurette may be a little more open, rather than where I've sort of been in the past, where I'm like, oh, okay, with the trailers, it's been middle ground. I mean, again, like I said, the explosion sequences and all the action stuff, it still looks good. It looks well done. I'm just kind of like, there's consistency here. And I think the trailers have stressed that, but I think it would have been better if maybe you had deviated from what's familiar, right, in those trailers. And be like, okay, this is a Michael Bay film where, unlike his previous releases, ... This featurette does it a little bit better in regard to the background narration happening, in regard to the plot and the character drama and the relationship dynamics, and what catapults the circumstances of a situation forward. Those are the elements that might bring me in a little more than the action side. I like action thriller movies. I'm just sitting there thinking, okay, with the trailers thus far, I've seen this. I think I'm a little more open now. Time will tell, but I'm a little more open than I was, previously with this movie. So we'll see. What are your guys' thoughts of Ambulance? Let me know down below. Don't forget all the good stuff. Are you going to go see it in theaters? Did you feel maybe like me, the trailers are kind of like, well, iffy, I could wait. No. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Don't forget all the good stuff, the liking, subscribing, the sharing, that bell, until we get to watch more from maybe Michael Bay in the future, or Jake Gyllenhaal in the talent here, or whatever we get to watch together next. I think this is probably the last video I'm going to do, considering the release date's pretty close. I think I've given this film enough of a fair look in regard to just generally pondering the idea of watching it, or maybe just waiting. So I think it's fair. I've stated my piece on it. I'll see you guys at a point that happens to be we get to look at maybe another film together, or something else entirely. But until then, thanks for watching this video. I love you guys. Don't forget to love yourselves, your fellow man. God bless and peace.